to start with the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. It's Monday. It's February the 23rd. This is the meeting of the Board of Supervisors for the Islands Community Improvement District. We should note that the full board is here. Notices for today's meeting were properly posted and uploaded, and the affidavit of notice is on file at the district's office. With that, item 2 is the roll call and approval of the agenda. Any additions to the agenda? Not, Mr. Chairman, you can entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
Yes, you're going to change that though, right? Like I asked?
In reference?
The schedule of the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Specifically related to item 8A.
What it is.
That is the rules of decorum.
Yeah, we want to move that to the beginning.
Yeah, understood.
All in favor?
Aye. Item 3 today is public comments. Dan,
What did, no. I asked that we move the rules of decorum before the public comments so that we can have those in place. Remember?
Yes, Zach wants to speak about that, the notice that was run on that. We can have that discussion now.
Okay, the notice for that, when this meeting got moved, and we have to renotice that, so we cannot have that workshop today.
So we can't change the rules of decorum yet?
Not today.
Okay.
We can discuss them because they are in final form, but the preference is to renotice the rules of procedure to adopt those at your next meeting.
Specifically, so the meetings have 7-day lead-up notices,
Yeah.
so when you move this could be renoticed.
Okay.
That is a 28-day lead-up notice, and so moving this when it got moved did not allow time to renotice the hearing, and since this is a location you've never met in before, I think it's important to make sure that we notice it all the way, which is 28 days in advance for the location.
Okay, also, I want to read a short statement before this gets going. As you all know, I've been the chair of this board for about 3.5 years. I wish I could say it's been a pleasure. Before being elected to this board, I read every board meeting minute since the CID was put into existence. I have spent literally thousands of hours working for this community, all while paying a higher level of assessments than any other vacant property owner in here. Since buying a home in this community 6 years ago, I have contributed over $100,000 in assessments and work. I brought in my own equipment, used it to work for this district without ever asking for $1 for reimbursements, even for fuel. What have I gotten in return from many people in this community? Let me list a few. I'm called a liar. I'm called dishonest. I'm called a thief. I'm told I should be put in jail. I'm doing criminal acts. I should be sued. I'm incompetent, causing people to sell their homes and leave this community. People have told us that they've started petitions to set us straight. Also, they have contacted the state's attorney, the tax commissioner, and the governor's office, just to name a few. Just recently, I've been working with a group that proposes a venture for this community that would be the best thing that I have ever heard of in years. But I've not shared it with this board because the information, I couldn't do it because of the sunshine laws. I have to do it in a public meeting. So the board doesn't know anything about it, just me. The group also asked me not to let this be known to the community until the deal goes through, and I'm honoring that. If this deal were to go through, it would collect revenue on the 25% of the uncollected plant capacity. Right now, one of the reasons that our cost to homeowners is so high is that because only 75% of our revenue generating capacity is being collected. So in other words, you're not only just paying for your bills, you're paying for the 25% that are being uncollected because we don't have the land all in use paying on that. Okay, so all of you people on all the people on Nextdoor Experts that post all this BS online, you are the ones who are destroying the possible property values in this community. If these people are looking at coming into this community and they read Nextdoor, I can't believe that they won't run. Now for me personally, due to the nonstop personal attacks on me and my inability to get our management company to do what the board asks, I am asking this board to find a replacement for my board position. I can no longer physically and mentally take this treatment. I have never been part of a community that is this toxic to each other. I will remain a member for a short time until a replacement has been found. I will also always be available to answer any questions that the board would have. And I would like to nominate Lisa to take over my chairmanship. That's it. Moving on.
Give me one moment.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate everything that you do. And knowing your appreciation I don't know what to say. Thank you. I work with you and you really always listen to me.
Thank you.
We want to do, why don't we do public comment really quick and then I'll comment on that.
I only have one. There will be another opportunity for public comment at the conclusion of the meeting. I believe it's Mr. Parsons. Dave? Stella Morris? Yes, sir. If you don't mind, just come to the front here so that they can pick you up on the camera.
I just have a question on water usage on the bill. Oh no, we've got a leak in the pool. And it's being taken care of, but it says 5,000 gallons and in Port of the Islands is $55.75 for water usage and sewer. And I know we had a have a leak, but we got water usage of $390. How many gallons would that be? I called in and they said that $55 was for 5,000 gallons I could set on here.
There's a new base rate, and unless you have a separate meter for that, there could conceivably be sewage charges on that in addition, but it depends how your account was set up.
On the sheet that came with the bill is what I'm referring to. It says water and sewer, $55.75 for 5,000 gallons. When I called in there, she said that it says 35 on the bill. And I said, what is that? She said that's 3,500 gallons. Well, if it was 3,500 gallons, it wouldn't be more than $55.
If you don't mind, if you're going to be here to the end of the meeting today, I'd be happy to look at that a little closer. Have you spoken to Muni Billing about the actual bill?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know whether or not there's just a separate water-only meter for that account?
There's not.
So conceivably, it also includes sewer charges for a swimming pool?
No.
Okay, but at the end of the day, then perhaps we need to reclassify that so that you're not paying sewer charges for water that's going to the swimming pool.
Unless there's a separate meter,
There's not a separate meter.
Well, that
then
would
you
be the
can't.
issue.
How can you split it up?
You can't. It would have to be established as a water-only account.
I'm not looking to have an adjustment on the bill or anything. I'm just have a question with this because it seems really must be thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons for $390 a use. We'll talk after.
Thank you. Any, was it Parsons?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other public comment for matters not on the agenda today?
Board, thank you for your patience on that. So I just want to clarify, Steve, you're resigning as chairman, and the board needs to go ahead and elect a replacement chairman. So just to confirm, you are resigning as chairman, then the board, you need to go ahead and
Just as
elect
the chairman.
I understand, so I'm doing that first. So if I will turn it over to the board then, pursuant to your rules of procedure, the chairman may resign, and of course, you will then elect a subsequent chairman. So if you'd like to discuss amongst yourselves or make some nominations, that would be the appropriate course of action.
Anybody want it?
No, I didn't say I wanted it.
Yeah. And I sure as hell don't want it. So,
Well, you still have a vote, and I'm making a proposal that Annalise do it.
To accept?
I think it's wise to accept, yes.
Okay, I accept.
And
There's a
then,
second.
Seconded nomination.
Any more questions, any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
okay, so,
Barring any other nominations, then
Yep.
you're now the chairman, and then just to clarify your other comment, is it your intention to resign from the board itself, or to?
No, I'll finish this meeting today as the chairman. I'll stay on until they can find a proper replacement so that they still have 5 people for a quorum.
Well, and that's,
And then I'll step out, I'll step out completely.
that's my clarification. So you want them to go ahead and identify a replacement?
Yeah, and I'm hoping they can do it within the next month.
Okay, and so essentially, if he resigns, that creates a vacancy pursuant to the statute, you can fill the vacancy by majority vote. So what I'm hearing is Mr. McNamee is resigning pending finding a replacement. So obviously that, I guess I don't think that will happen today, it certainly could, but if there's no suggested replacement at this meeting, then I assume this will be something that we dealt with at the March meeting. Supervisors? And if that's so, that's my comment on that portion of the meeting, so thank you very much. And then Annalise, it's your meeting.
typically you would also want me to at least make the vacancy known through the website. So unless you tell me otherwise, we'll prepare
No.
an appropriate notice just saying the board is accepting expressions of interest in serving as a supervisor. And it would only be for the remainder of the term,
It's for the remainder of the
which
term.
would be this year in the general election.
Yeah.
Okay? Anything? That takes us down to item 4 today, the approval of the minutes from your January meeting on the 16th. These were distributed in advance. This was your regular meeting. Annalise, did you have any,
Yeah, I reviewed them.
any revisions?
I could send her one out.
I had found one too, but I forgot to mark it, so I'm trying to bad.
I know that you fixed it, so
Okay,
I'm good.
so there's a motion to accept.
Motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 5 today is the utility monthly report, either Matt or Mitch, if he arrived.
So, one of them.
We're at work. Okay. Utility report for the month of January. Operations at facilities throughout the month were in accordance with contract and regulatory requirements. All wastewater plant requirements were met and all water distribution requirements were met. Reuse pump system functioned as intended for outdoor pressure of the plant. Canal station is operating on 1 pump. Wastewater plant received 3.28 million gallons of wastewater. The water plant produced 3.37 million gallons in January. and reuse distributed 9.6 million gallons in January. All the auto flushers were tested and ran. We read 864 meters. We had 16 rereads, and we used 505 gallons of chlorine throughout the month. All pump stations were inspected weekly. Odor control checks were performed. All pumps and motors were greased. The 75 horse reuse motor, the new one was installed, the new one was received and installed. So you have a new pump and motor over there, which is good. Replaced the leaking back. We replaced a leaking backflow. Newport Master Lift Station rehab was completed. We used a camera to inspect sewer lateral where there was a backup on the customer side. We repaired a broken water service line. Diagnosed and repaired a issue with the generator at the plant. The Mass Tech's replacing all the poles between 41 and the plant, and they had to take us offline, and the generator didn't want to kick on. So we discovered an issue with it. Fortunately, it happened at that time, not during a real power outage.
Is that a transfer switch?
I had contacted them, the one for the well road, I contacted them when that was going on. They said it should be here by March 5th. Yep. We did have, well, I think that was this month, but one of the lines did go down on the well road this month, and we were out there like 1 in the morning waiting for EC to come fix it. So they did come fix it and got the well road back online. And we serviced both plant generators this month. They had their annual service done. Other than that, we had no accidents or incidents and conducted all of our safety training.
Questions from the board?
You said that you were going to have an open house.
Mm-hmm.
Can you have that before everybody goes back?
Yep. Would mid-March work?
Works for me.
Okay.
Anybody else?
We'll shoot you a date and just confirm if that works.
If you'll coordinate with us, have you done it on a Saturday in the past or during the week? Do you know?
I think it was.
Following a meeting.
Yeah, it's typically after a board meeting.
So maybe we'll schedule one for the March meeting. When we recess, then we'd have the open house at that time.
Yeah, but we can do it any day. It doesn't matter to us.
That satisfy the board after the March
Fine
meeting?
with me.
Tours available, and maybe some light refreshments, something appropriate.
Yeah,
Well,
usually
we
Mitch.
usually do that.
Yeah, usually Mitch puts together sandwiches and drinks and stuff.
Hot dogs, whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we could do some kind of an appreciation thing for this company too, in the wonderful service that they've given us over the years. I'd like to see them get some type of recognition above and beyond us saying, way to go at the meeting.
We appreciate it, and it might sound cliche, but we're happy to be here and operate your plant for you.
I have one question. Staff has been working with Matt to verify and audit all of the meters for the hotel condominium and the hotel proper, and also the boat dock condominiums. And you've given us a memo. I passed the memo out at Billy's tally. I had one question. After last month's meeting, Mr. Truckee and Billy and I went around to identify the meters. There is a fourth 2-inch meter that is on the east side of the hotel, adjacent to what looks to me like a mechanical room or something.
Okay.
Are you aware of that? The lid was rolled over with sod. I just want to make sure there are no phantom meters out there and they're all active accounts.
Yeah, that tends to happen sometimes because they're all read by radio.
I know.
So. But yeah, we're aware of it for sure.
Okay. I don't know enough how these buildings, I know the buildings, the outbuildings are labeled like A through F.
Mm-hmm.
Is the hotel proper within that range of buildings?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, I know ownership is separate in most instances. I just need to know from y'all's perspective what the serial number on this one particular meter is,
Okay.
so that I can tie it to an account, so that I can add additional base units.
Yeah, absolutely. So-
The other meters are all 2-inch meters, and we've now been able to reconcile the number of units that appear to be on that meter. And we'll continue to work with Mr. Truckee just to make sure it's accurate before the next bill cycle.
Okay.
This one is important. There's a non-functioning meter that's a 4-inch meter, that's irrigation, and it's my understanding that meter's been off for years.
Well, if it's the one right over here, that is an irrigation meter, but I think it's a reuse meter, but I believe it feeds their fire suppression system. So I don't think it's off, I just think that there's no flow there because unless they have a fire.
Yeah, that's fine, because there's no base rates on irrigation meters, so I'm not, from a billing perspective, I'm not concerned about that.
Okay.
The only other upsized meter, to my knowledge, is the one at the fire station, and I'm told it's a 1-inch meter. And I just, at some point, that's not a big deal, but I need to verify that because I need to verify there's a slightly higher base rate.
Okay. As soon as I leave here, I'll confirm those
Okay,
meters.
thank you.
No
We
problem.
appreciate y'all, and we will work and to have that open house at the next meeting, which will be the 20th.
Okay.
We can mention the drought thing, because of the drought in South Florida, we're calling meetings with South Florida Water Management. We have to meet,
So we attend online Teams meeting. I forget if it's weekly or bi-weekly. We just started them last week, so I'll have to double check my calendar. But they want us to report the groundwater levels at the monitoring wells. They're tracking the groundwater table throughout South Florida.
so far our water table's holding well. We got Ricky Everglades, an advantage to that, I guess. But because of the drought, they're having water shortages different places and they're keeping tabs on that. We'll be subject to those meetings I thought it was once a month, but it's. My first one that she just sent me the letters for Wednesday.
Okay. Well, I'll double check to make sure.
Yeah. And then I don't know after that how often it'll be, but, just so you know that's starting to come into play because of the drought.
Yeah, just for the record, our office is also attending those meetings as well. We received the invite for that, for the South Florida meetings.
For South Florida? You were in?
Yeah, we were at the last one and we're monitoring this as well. On behalf of other clients, but since it affects you as well, we will pass on the relevant information. But so far, it seems to be primarily an exercise in data gathering in hopes that they don't have to declare a shortage, but all signs point towards them having to declare a shortage at some point in the near future. But as you pointed out, mostly effective for those along the coast. Than those on the interior. Because it seems like the concern is when the levels get low enough and there's a saltwater intrusion concern, that doesn't impact you as much as it would the coastal side. But it is something to be mindful of, and we have multiple groups watching on your behalf.
That reminded me of one more thing. As far as the pump station on the canal, so we're not using that anymore, that's like not to be used.
Correct. The only time it would turn on is if everything else failed.
And I don't even know that issue. Why?
Well, if there was a fire and you needed water, I mean, some water's better than no water. And in my opinion.
But you'd have to drain your 250,000 gallon tank that you got now, right?
Yeah, like, if somebody took out a power pole here and then the generator broke down and something happened at the plant and a series of events happened that caused us to have no reuse water pressure at the plant, then this would kick on as a backup to that.
Okay. We have to really look at whether we want that to come on at all. That we don't disable that system. Because if that system comes on now with the salt, we're going to have some bills. Pretty good, could be substantial bills.
check the salt content on the other side of the weir?
They checked right up by the weir. It was 2 parts per million higher than the Gulf at the weir. And out in the middle of the bay out here, it was 2 parts per million below the Gulf.
So it's going over and it must be evaporating
Just a couple days
concentrated.
ago, it was flowing backwards
Yeah.
over the weir. So we're gonna have a good salt content in there. There's no doubt about it. So I don't know, we have to take a look at how we're gonna handle that, what we're gonna do with that. And we talked about, Steve brought up the idea of the pond, Lizzie Casey's pond. We should actually do some testing, water testing on that, and make sure you don't have any saltwater intrusion in the pond. That's feasible, the water is not salty, that's something we can look at. We can talk more with South Dakota Water Management about expanding the well field. That's an option.
I know the engineers are looking at raising the wellheads out there, so might be a good time to do it if you're thinking about doing it. Adding wells or.
Yeah, they're engineering that right now.
Right.
So they're working on it. I think it has to come down to either some type of desalination, some pond or something like that, or more wells. But we have to eliminate the canal system unless we're going to do a lot of work on the buildings and things like that.
What was the current month irrigation total delivered?
It was 597,000. So 9,597,000, yeah.
With the new rate structure, the board went to just a flat rate for irrigation, and I'm advised that we have the lowest irrigation rates in Southwest Florida. I'm just told that. If we begin to apply some commodity surcharges for rates higher, in your opinion, would that help with the overall equation in the math?
Or
You're talking about going back to a step system here?
Would it work if we went back to a tiered irrigation to try and force people to conserve? You doing that for other clients?
most of our other clients are on a base flat rate as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, currently, we don't have a problem meeting the reuse demand. So that's up to you guys if that's something you're interested in. If it comes down to it, if there is a restriction at some point, maybe consider that.
If you force people to do conservation, it's just going to keep costing us more money. I mean,
And does it really work?
Concerts like
You know,
restricting.
system, yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I mean, people just pay them, they try to force it out and pay it anyway.
Yeah, that
We
was
have
my question.
communities where they've asked them to restrict and the flows haven't shown any restriction
Okay.
yet, so we'll see.
I think, give it some time and see.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
We'll see you
All right,
next
Let us
month.
know about the 20th.
Yep, I'll email you and.
Just if you would send it to the office and in turn, then we'll get something on the website and we'll get it back to the supervisors.
Okay, great. We'll make
Thank
sure we're ready. Thank you guys.
Item 6 today, just a couple of informational items. First, there is the qualifying notice. There will be a qualifying period in June for prospective candidates. I will remind you of that. There's only a 2-week window for candidates to qualify, either by completing an application, paying the fee, or a seldom used petition process, but just want to make sure that was part of our record today. Item B today is also just a quick update. We have
Why don't you tell everybody who the candidates are?
I'm sorry?
Tell us who the candidates are.
There are none yet, and
No,
I
I
won't
mean
know
the-
that until we get to June to see who wants to go through the qualifying
Yeah.
process.
How many seats are open?
Two. And again, that's on the website. Terms of office and current incumbents is all on the website.
Great.
Sorry. We have found a willing taker of the former, I'm down to item B here, the very expensive 55-gallon drum of mosquito treating chemical. The city of Everglades has asked for that to be given to them as surplus property. Collier County Mosquito Control, at the end of the day, did not want it. They don't use that type of chemical, so at least we found suitable use of it, and Everglades is very appreciative. Working with, between Billy and Matt, are going to actually have it delivered to Everglades City. So I just wanted to close the loop on that.
So we're giving it to them?
Are we giving it to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have to pay to haul it to Fort Myers as hazardous waste
Dispose of it.
and a controlled substance, and I figured, you know,
Yeah, it's not
they'll owe us a
$5,000.
favor at some point. Your former mosquito control trailer will be sold at a statewide government surplus equipment auction the second week in March. For people that are interested, it's a Royal Auction House. It's a statewide governmental equipment auction. Their main facility is in Tampa, but their larger facility actually is in Estero on Corkscrew Road. And it is both a physical and a virtual auction, and we're hoping to, it's not a big deal for you, but I have other clients that have a lot of equipment, vehicles, but it will expose it to a much larger audience than otherwise me just running a notice in the newspaper and hoping that people get that.
Who can participate in that
Anyone.
auction?
I've
Private people, doesn't have to be municipality?
No. You're talking about buyers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody can buy it.
Royal Auctions, and I think it's the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th. And they do video preview and on-site inspection of equipment in advance.
What was the date?
I think it's the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th. If you go online to Royal Auction, it will direct you, and you can actually watch little video snippets of stuff that they already have scheduled.
That's March.
Yes, sir. The next item that I had, item C, I did receive, and in your agenda today are the two proposed agreements from the econometric firm that now owns Mr. Wyer's business for both the methodology update and also a separate utility impact fee or ERC calculation evaluation to establish a fee for that. Just from my notes and previous board discussions, there are 5 different areas first for the methodology update. It would include a reevaluation of parcel 13 to include what is called the former dormitory property, to recognize the default on the part of the current owner and reevaluate 4 units to the acre. The second one are double lots in this community. I believe there are half a dozen of those. Currently, they're only paying 1 ERU, and the board seems to want to take another look at creating an increased ERU allocation for oversized lots. Third area, it recently came up, you've asked me to include a commercial boat slip evaluation separate from personal for eco tours or backcountry fishing guides. Any commercial dock, it has higher trip generation than what I would call a residential dock. And the final area would be county-owned parcels that they have acquired through the tax deed auction, where no one else shows up and purchases unpaid taxes. It includes both the North Hotel site and also a variety of building pads or parcels in Orchid Cove. I don't know how many, but I'm working to Russ, and so that's the scope of the engagement for that particular process. They have already begun data collection on the second one, which is to establish a utility impact fee, and we'll be working with our civil engineer and the most recent board adopted 5-year capital improvement plan to determine what an appropriate impact fee for the utility would be for both water and wastewater.
Are we addressing all the boat slips though, not just commercial? I mean, we get little boards, we get B&B docks, which are, small boats, but there's little boards, I mean.
I'm more than happy to have him evaluate anything you said. Previously, I think the current boat docks within the table.
Well, I think we just should have the whole thing done so that it's just done, so we know what's what, you know what I mean? What's the expert says it should be, then we're covered, because I don't know if we've ever done that with the little boards, right?
We haven't done them in anything.
Yeah, we got, I don't want there to be any questions about us overcharging, undercharging, whatever. So I want a recommendation from them on all the boat docks.
Add one more thing. And
Okay.
it'll be a complete report, and it'll be done.
I'm more than happy to have him investigate anything that.
I mean, this is the condos, everything.
The intent would be to evaluate the benefits from a 40-foot boat dock versus a 20-foot, and render some sort of opinion as to benefits across the board. When you say B dock,
B&D are the
that just doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, B&D docks can't handle a liveaboard, okay? The rest of them can, as far as I'm aware, the rest of them can have a liveaboard. So
Okay.
just B&D that's smaller.
I think D-Dock is mostly the commercial homes.
Okay, but there's residential there, then we have to differentiate those too.
Okay, so let's just generically say that the boat dock evaluation would include both the length and the use, being commercial or personal.
Right.
Is there a way that during this process, we can include a marina dock master as well as prep map in these discussions so that they know what's going on and can have some input?
Yes, there are workshops that will take place after the report is completed, and that would be the appropriate time. The report will be able to be shared, so they can review the report, and then they can comment and critique the report at the workshop.
Will that work for you two fellas?
Yeah, that's fine.
In furtherance of that, if they have industry information or standards that they want to submit during the evaluation, I mean, I don't know if there's things of the nature, but if you want to send information to me in advance in support of whatever your position or concerns would be, I'll forward that on to the economists.
We would invite you to be actively.
Don't wait for the workshop, is what I'm
Be
saying.
actively involved in this so that we can end this.
And you and I haven't met previously, but if you'll be here at the end, I'll be happy to give you my contact information.
And this includes the content, even everything that's on those 2-inch lines, we're gonna discuss all that. Mm-hmm. Everything, right? Okay.
It's out on Nextdoor right now that we're gonna force everybody to put their own meters in on their docks, and we're gonna force everybody to put their own meters in their condominiums and all that too.
I don't look at next door,
Yeah.
so.
With that, I'll need a motion and a second to approve the 2 agreements in your backup today to undertake those 2 studies.
I recommend,
Make a motion?
make a motion to
Second.
cover that. Make sure we're 100%.
Nobody wants to say, all in favor?
I'm sorry, who made the second?
Ken?
Okay.
Just for point of information, we have 2 bathrooms here, 2 people that are working. We have a men and women's back here.
Item 7 today are the financials. These would be as of the first quarter or month ending December the 31st that are behind the next tab. A couple of highlights, and then I also have an overview of your audit that was complete and distributed as part of your packet this morning. The district had a combined $5,500,000 in cash on hand at the end of December, sort of the high mark, I think, for the year, at least from a non-ad valorem perspective. Additionally, there was right at $6,917,000 in fixed assets. That primarily reflects the value of the infrastructure here, the roads, the drainage facilities, the street lights, and the value of the utility system, net of depreciation. So the replacement value is probably somewhere north of $20 million. Previously, we've had almost $10 million in depreciation. So total assets on hand at the end of December, $12,673,000 for both the general fund and the utility fund. There were $92,000 in payables that were outstanding at the end of the month on the liability portion of the balance sheet. Looking on the next page, the income statement, I'll see a couple of things. Obviously, December was a big month for residents who were chasing personal income tax deductions. There was $250,000 received in the month of December for non-ad valorem assessments. Some of that will bleed over into January and be reflected next month if people paid it on the last day of the month. It didn't actually get booked and recognized by the tax collector until the first week of November. Total year-to-date assessments through the first quarter, right at $600,000. That reflects about 76% of your total year-to-date expenses, or revenue rather, in the first 3 months. On the expense side of the equation, no real surprises here. Your year-to-date expenses for both attorney's fees and civil engineering fees are over budget. This report also would reflect higher than budget fees for the tax collector and the property appraiser, but those are front-loaded and are collected at the time and expensed at the time that the taxes are paid, and that will work itself out over time. I didn't flag anything else in the cost centers that are here. You will see next month some capital improvements for some of the lift station rehab work that the board had authorized. Because year-to-date we haven't reflected any of the capital improvements yet, but we will next month. So in the general fund, total budget year-to-date were $90,000 under budget on the general fund, and we are $103,000 below budget year-to-date through the first 3 months in your utility fund. Moving on just for another minute, I have provided the board, if you have problems falling asleep at night, the annual audit of the independent auditor. Your auditor is Grau and Associates. What it's worth, they specialize in special districts. The audit is a clean audit without exception, and is also had no correcting entries this year. There were no material defects in internal controls or various processes, and in full compliance with Florida law. That's all contained in a letter from them that it's at the very back of the audit presentation on page 29. I think it would be important to note assets of the district greatly exceed its liabilities at the close of business at the end of September of the prior year. The net position balance of the community was $13,147,932. The change in net position over the prior year was an increase of $465,000, higher revenue and lower rates of depreciation for your fixed assets. The combined ending fund balance for the two funds at the end of the year. The board had $3,669,000, an increase of $581,000 over the prior year, fiscal 2024. This board has been very fiscally conservative, and your balance sheet is strong, and I think you've got a very good handle on operating expenses, and you have made appropriate investments on capital expenses in your utility system. This will be uploaded onto the website in accordance with Florida law before the end of the week. And with that, I'll see if the board has any specific questions. Otherwise, you can entertain a motion to accept the financials and to also provide copies of the audit to the state.
I make a motion to accept.
I just have a question. It's probably, I'm not a business person, but you said we had $10 million in depreciation?
Over the life of the original construction, it's straight line depreciation. Governments as a whole don't focus a lot on depreciation, but yeah, that's why I said your original replacement value for your assets here was close to $20 million. The debt has all been paid, and about half of that has been depreciated, and so the remaining asset value net of depreciation is whatever I said, $9 million or something. You think it?
No, I think
Depreciated value is
keep.
$12,673,000.
Okay. Good question. But yeah, it's straight line depreciation from original cost.
So when we're figuring out the cost of the ERC,
That needs to be taken into account. And I'm not an economist, but obviously the value of what you own, not depreciated value, but the value of what you own, that the people who paid the bonds to help build those assets here needs to be taken into consideration for this impacting.
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Now that would be, you wouldn't that be non-depreciated, right?
correct. I can't replace it for, that's why I said that
So it'd be 22 million, or, right?
close.
Close to that.
And surely you're not paying full value, but there's some, discounted value, but it needs to be taken into consideration for future development so that those people are paying their fair share. Was there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Only because Steve, I don't know whether you wanted to talk about the, as part of the financial question, the possible leasing of this facility, and you want to do that?
Well, I just think it'd be helpful to get board direction on this.
Okay, I went to Tom here in the last month about leasing this building. Two main reasons. The last meeting that we started having in the restaurant over there, he's having breakfast in there, and it's just not conducive to having a meeting in there because of the noise that's being involved in it. The second reason is there's a lot of people in here who want a community center. I thought this was a way that we could get our feet wet for $1,500 a month. He'll lease us this building up to he'll give us a 3-year lease that we can break at any time. He'll allow us to pull all this stuff out of here, set this up the way that we want, and then we can start opening this up for community events. There's extra office spaces here. I was hoping to take the kitchen, which is basically just a facade right now. It's not hooked up to anything. So once we pull that out of there, I would take the kitchen things, the stove, refrigerator, some of that, and set up one of the other office spaces for that, so that it would remain a kitchenette in here, so that if people wanted to have, let's just say, a family reunion here or something like that, they would have the ability to use the kitchen facilities in here. Long term, I thought it would be nice if at some point we could screen in the outside here so that people could have their cigar smoking sessions and whatever else, barbecuing or whatever else that they might want to do out there, but it would give us an overflow in here. I would like to see these main doors replaced so we could open up so that it would make the flow go through. But anyway, I had our attorney write up a lease agreement with Tom, and if the board likes the idea of doing this, then I would go to Tom and ask him to sign this, which Tom has been extremely gracious with us. But this would give the community an idea. This way we look at this, if people are using this community center like we think that they will be, then down the road, you know, when finances and everything start to level out, if this new project comes in here, this whole complexity of this place is going to change. Then at that time, you could look at doing a community center. But in the meantime, you're finding out whether or not there's actually a use for it. But that's still not going to address the fact that we don't have anything for storm prevention, and so forth, to get our generators up in there and that sort of stuff. Now, at the last meeting, someone made a statement that, well, when there's a hurricane coming, we all get in our cars and leave. Well, that's all good and fine for you personally. What about the rest of us that stay behind to protect your properties? The fire service, the ambulance people, the electrical companies that come in, all the people who are going to be left behind to protect your property so that you have something to come back. My stance on that is, why do we always look for how it just affects us individually? Why don't we look at how it affects the community as a whole? Just because you have the luxury of jumping in your car and driving back to North Dakota doesn't mean the rest of the world stops while you're gone. And we should be proactive about protecting this community from these kinds of situations. That's my take. How does the board feel? Do you want to do this or don't?
I agree. I think we should try this.
There's suggested rent.
$1,500 a month.
Yeah, if this includes a termination at any time, there's really little risk here. We have a draft lease. If my recommendation, if the board is interested in this, is that if Steve were to send that to Tom and copy Neil, Tom and I can figure out any of the remaining details that there may be, which there shouldn't be many details. The suggestion is it's just a non-triple net lease, but just a normal lease, so $1,500 a month, termination anytime, 3 years, with some provisions to allow the district to do permanent build out on the interior. If that's all comfortable with Tom, then that can be a pretty elegant solution.
For a facility like this, at $1,500 is extremely low. It's a gift for the square footage that we're getting here.
Well, just as a point of information, I would think, and I agree, the rate, certain things like who's responsible for mechanical equipment, if the air handler fails in July and that sort of thing, that would typically be our responsibility. That needs to be factored into what the total cost is.
We do need the air conditioning upgraded. The one on this side of the building should be removed. It's my understanding this side may be working, and what I envisioned doing was going over to Martin, who owns a heating and cooling company and lives over on Wilderness K. Great guy, hoping that we could talk him into either donating his work for upgrading the air conditioning system or giving it to us at cost or something like that. But I got a sneaking suspicion, and I haven't approached him yet, that he would be more than happy to help this community out for that help. And while we're on this subject, I really want to thank Frank Lee for making this happen today. Frank has gone above and beyond. He's taken this project under his wing. When we get this lease signed, he'll be the guy who's going to be in here orchestrating this. Hopefully he isn't the only poor guy that's doing the work in here. I would hope all these people that have been saying that they want a community center so badly will at least step up and offer their time and their assistance, or even some of their monetary situations to help this happen. So, thanks, Frank. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Frank. raise money on our own, you know.
Thank you, I'm excited about this. In getting married in this building over the past 2 weeks, the people would come by, the doors are open, they come in. And I can't tell you the number of people. Could we have our card group here? And Diane Morrow needs to head up getting the mod, John, whatever that thing is, you know, but there could be Bible studies, there could be yoga instruction. We have a group of licensed professional people, a cabinet specialist, who's going to move the cabinet so that they're pristine in the new location. We have people that are coming in that will do the construction in here, and they will all donate their time. They said as long as you guys are here with us, you know, and I'll be there if you need. But they'll do this for nothing. I just found out this morning I knew we need a new service on our plumbing coming into the building. Just got to commit that will be donated, paid for. So already the interest of just having the doors open, it's here. And I think this is going to be a really great thing for the community. As for size, we'll have several configurations. We'll be recommending to you, the board, a whole list of policies that you will decide, of course, about how it works and who can use it and that kind of thing. The only charge I could ever envision, I talked to people who run 4 community centers. They all said the same thing. Don't make the list and put it up about this is how you close down the building. They said, no, community center doesn't work. They said, if your condo board was to come and meet here, and you guys would agree to that, we would simply request, a small, whatever it costs us to have somebody come in and clean the place and reset it. So that it's always perfect the next room. I'm really excited. I think this is going to be a positive thing. And I think it's going to bring this whole community together. So I would envision, and by the way, we can do this in 30 to 45 days. What I would envision is some small expenses. We could take out some carpet, put down some appropriate stuff for a kitchen, that kind of thing. And I think I'm a big believer in if we can tell people specifically, we'd like to buy such and such, who would like to contribute to that. One last idea that came to me I want to share publicly because I'm excited about it. On one of these long walls, and that wall we'll all find, we can get these professional gallery scripts that are aluminum and not expensive, especially with SCR. And the idea would be somebody came and said, could we have for our artists? So we would have, if Donald Duck was an artist, Donald would have his month or her month, it's Daisy Duck. And we would they'd have a reception for them, they'd talk about their art. And for that month, their art would hang here. Every month, we'd have a new Port of the Islands person, whether it's quilts or photographs or painting. Sorry to be long, but you can tell I'm excited. So this is a great day for this community, and it's going to be a good thing.
I would also like to say if we could get somebody like Martin to come in and donate his services and whatnot, I think that we should make a place so that he could have a little advertising sign or something to help offset some of his costs and show our appreciation for that. I also think that, we're going to need to buy chairs and we're going to need to buy some things. I'd like to see us set up an account over at Lowe's where if people wanted to spend some money to contribute in here, you would go to Lowe's and you would buy a chair or, whatever it happens to be, because we don't want just a bunch of people bringing in over all their old chairs and dumping in here. We want to keep it all consistent. But I think if we put that list on in like Lowe's, we can tell the people this is what we need, and hopefully we can get people to contribute to that.
If I could just...
One other thing. If you can see my yellow pickup's parked on the other side of this hedges here. The CID owns a strip of land through there probably close to 100 feet wide. That's all ours to park on. So if you just go down to the first turnoff down here, and you can drive right down the grass along the back side of this hedge here, that's all parking that we can do. So I know nobody knew where to park today, but in the future, that's all, we already own all that.
Quick update, Steve, I'm pleased to tell you that Congress has offered to let us use these chairs at no charge.
Perfect.
And these are good chairs, that's a lot of money. So the community's really coming together. You see, Tom, tell him thank you.
not only that, go to his breakfast. Let's help this man start to turn a profit.
So just generally, as far as order of operations goes, obviously the first is we have to get the lease in place and work through the details of it. There are some, what I would say, government regulations we need to be in mind of here. It would be wonderful if various contractors in the community want to dedicate their time and materials, but we have to make sure that all the build out is done with permits and that all of the occupancy license classifications are achieved from the county correctly.
That's just rules. We don't need no stinking rules.
I hear you, and I think that if you have contractors that are cooperative, this really shouldn't be a problem. I just want to put it out there. When we're talking about timelines, it sounds like Tom is willing to let you. He obviously lets you use the space today without a lease, and so it sounds like we're going to be able to work through all of this. And I think this is very achievable. But I just wanted to put that out there. And what I would recommend is that Neil be put in contact with Tom so we can hammer out the details of the lease. I don't know, Steve, if you would like to stay in that conversation or if you want to take over that conversation, but I'd like some direction on that so I can make sure the lease gets
I've
hammered
got a
out.
really good relationship with Tom, but I'm sure Lisa would be more than easy to work with him. One other thing too, I see like the people at the marina who don't have facilities. I mean, what a perfect place that you guys, you could have, you guys have get-togethers, potlucks and whatnot and all that. You could set all that up over here if you wanted to. But there's just a ton of possibilities what can be done here. But the first thing that we have to look at is, are you going to use the facility? Because if you're not going to use this facility, this idea of a community center years down the road is not worth speaking about. So, it's all
And
up to us.
they will come.
So then I guess just to get consensus from the board, we will, with the lease running point, we will negotiate the lease with Tom so that that can be fully executed and address some of the permitting issues. And then I guess we'll also coordinate with Annalise as to potential volunteer contractors who would help do some of the build out. But my recommendation would be not to do any of the build out until the lease is executed.
Gotcha.
Just because we don't want to start modifying and building, even if it's for free, without having proper paperwork in place.
Sound advice.
I think, Madam Chair, that takes us down to supervisor
You want to make a
request.
motion? Do we need a motion to go ahead and sign this lease?
He said consensus.
We need to finalize like because I don't, as far as I'm aware, Tom, I know you've seen it and I've drafted it, but Tom hasn't seen it and I think it's reasonable that he may have some modifications to it, just little things. Just quickly, like for example on the parking issue, we have a little fact finding we need to do about it because while we do own a grass strip, the county from a land use perspective doesn't recognize grass parking as supportive parking for a facility. And so there's going to be some little things like that we just have to straighten out, that some of them may end up being slightly larger than little, but we can work them through. And that's why I want to make sure that we talk to Tom about that in the lease process. Because if we need to get some spaces from over here, we need to get them.
Yeah, we don't need to necessarily have grass strip mentioned in that
Right.
lease.
And it's not.
They didn't seem to enforce anything else. I don't know why they would enforce it, parking on grass.
That's a fair observation.
For an
That's
hour.
the attorney I have to say.
For an hour a month?
Yeah, I mean,
2?
we're going to need to do that because if this is going to be used, then people need someplace to park. But-
Yep, the district just has to make sure it's, when it invites people into a space, it's done when it can to follow all the rules.
Okay.
So we don't need a motion because we need to negotiate the lease. I just wanted to be told who is negotiating it so I can make sure that it gets.
And once it's done, do we have to wait till the next meeting before we can approve it? Or
Yes.
can we make a motion now?
You don't know what the terms are now, so we need to have a board meeting to approve the lease. The district is leasing real estate, and so I think it's important this be brought to a board meeting.
But we can also get Tom to sign an authorization letting us take this stuff out even before that, because he can have anybody do anything in his own building anytime he wants.
Sure, it's Tom's building, and Tom can do whatever he wants with Tom's building.
Yeah, okay.
So the intent would be to have a lease and an occupancy rating before your meeting in March. Any other supervisor requests down to item 12? Any final public comment, either virtually or for those who are here?
I'll slow down just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, I turned into LCEC, 7 streetlights that are out in the community. They're supposed to be working on them. We also had the trees cut away from all the streetlights a couple months ago. Also noticed that over on Case Drive, a street sign that's fell over, it looked like it just rusted in too. So whoever takes care of that, we need to.
We'll look at it.
It's just laying there in the grass right now.
What about the electrical getting put over here?
Well, that's, are we gonna run off the building? Are we gonna run underneath the road? I mean, that's all things that we have to.
My opinion is, we put a meter in over there, we should run a line over here, we should not, because Tom could get somebody to come and say, you know what, I got somebody who wants to come and lease this building, or I'm selling the hotel, or whatever. We still have to have our own electricity.
Right.
We couldn't use lights in here for the longest time because the wiring wasn't good. That's our property, we should energize our own property.
Okay, well, I'll look into, I was waiting on that, direction to tell the electrician so we could get a quote.
I think, you say this, but I think the board should authorize him to go ahead and do that, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because we also need the lights for the flagpole and the
Absolutely.
signs. Okay.
And do it as quickly as we can so we can start getting now, are we gonna put power across that driveway again where they took that, that woman's plaque is still there, and we took that out of there? Are we gonna run electricity to
You'd
that?
have to run irrigation to whatever you're planting there. If we're planting the same type of flowers like we have in front of the other 2 roads that require irrigation.
Yeah, I think we should.
We should do that
Real nice
and try to get it done as quickly as we can so these guys can get in there and start putting flowers and, yeah.
So I was waiting for where we were just gonna say, I was gonna get electric out there, so.
Okay, so what motion do you need?
I think based on what the one right behind this.
So I make a motion that you get a quote for the electric.
All right.
Why don't
And get it, just,
Well,
well,
Can we just say if it's less than this amount, go ahead and do it?
not to exceed, and do it,
Okay,
okay?
pick a number.
It's the highest number we can do without having a board vote.
$5,000?
That's it?
I don't know,
I got one underground, so I don't think. I don't know.
Underground, you're not gonna get that for 5,000. Probably 10 would do it.
Okay.
Well, we can authorize it.
Okay,
All right, make a motion.
make a motion that we authorize that we find an electrician to give us a quote on what it takes to get this up and operational.
I think Mr. Lee already has one if you want to use him.
Not to exceed 10,000.
No. Yeah, we'll, if it's under 10,000, we'll proceed. If it's over 10,000, we'll bring it to the board.
I second it. All in favor?
All right?
Aye.
No?
Anything else, Kevin?
Oh, I have something. You know when lights are out. Did you notice that some of them barely give off any light?
That's the same thing as being out, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they weren't on full, I went around 2 different nights. If they're not on full, I'll call them out.
Okay, all right.
And
Good.
just for record purposes, so your bid limit is 25,000, that's when you need to get 3 bids and bring it back to the board. So your direction was 10, but just for the record purposes, you're well under the requirement.
So, if I were to suggest, I would say authorize, if it's gonna be more than 10,000, get them started on the 10,000.
Right.
And then we'll find some more.
Of course.
Yeah. But let's just get this moving.
Anything else, Kevin?
Not at this time.
Did staff contact you? We cut that deposit check for the new sign. Are you aware of that?
And we're gonna do the same thing over here once we get these walls power washed and painted, and then we have to talk about what color we want them over here as well.
How are you gonna decide what goes back in here? Are you gonna let the residents decide what flowers they wanna put in? How's all that gonna be handled?
Well, it's still open, but we are following the direction of the lady that we paid the landscape architectural lady.
We already paid her?
Yeah.
Oh, so we have,
We have a complete design. We're just doing a smaller rendition of what she had trees and everything, but we're just doing the plants and everything.
So I know that there's people over here would like to be a part of that, you know? So, if we could include them in there, that'd be great.
It's open. It hasn't been done yet.
Okay, so if they should get a hold of you, then
That's right.
So, what we just said was, if any people want to be a part of reflowering this place and whatnot, get a hold of Kevin and we'll work something out so that you can be a part of it.
and how do they get a hold of you? Through the website?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other supervisor requests? Again, any final public comments? If not, your next meeting and then the open house at the utility plant will be March the 20th at 9:30.
Followed probably by,
Yeah, we'll adjourn the meeting, but I'm going to notice the open house as though it were a workshop for make sure nobody gets in any trouble with sunshine law. So it will be noticed as an open house workshop because more than one board member will be there.
And Annalise can take over or working with the new group that are looking at.
So March is venture, we're going back to Friday then, right?
Unless you tell me otherwise, I know that I end up coordinating everything with Dave and Frank on the technology side.
Just thought I'd make that announcement so people would know not to come here on Monday.
There had been some individual board members mentioned to me that Friday is not always a good day because people travel on the weekend or whatnot, but until you change the meeting, it will be the third Friday.
well,
Well, what do you want to do?
anybody in the audience have a preference? I mean, Fridays
Fridays or Mondays?
Fridays are okay.
Anybody got an opinion?
Anybody care?
Space for Dave.
What's that?
Dave might have a.
Does it make a difference to
He
you?
wants to check the rule.
Thursdays are always good,
Thursdays?
Thursdays are good
'Cause
for me.
you get it out of the way, and if you want to do a long weekend, you can take off on the Friday.
Just give me one moment. Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing, your rules, your meetings are not hard coded into your rules, so as long as you're gonna have a vote, a motion and a vote, we can set them however you wish to set them.
Anybody on the board have preference? No? No? No?
Thursday sounds good to me, yeah.
Thursday?
Yeah.
I prefer Thursday.
Okay.
We can try that. Mr. Sparacio will, continue to be out here during the course of the week. He may not be here every Thursday, but certainly Thursdays I have no conflicts on Thursdays. So
Okay.
then that would be the 19th,
Thursday, yes. Make a motion?
Thursday, the 19th at 9:30 to be followed by an open house at the utility plant. And with that, you can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Just one question. Are we gonna have a meeting with Russ Weir? Is
You're
Russ?
screwed.
Yeah.
With your approval of the Johnson Engineering Agreement and the two econometric agreements today, I don't have anything else pending that needs urgent action.
What
I just
about
wanna
that?
get him up, I just wanna get this done with this Russ Weir thing.
Why?
So
It's
what-
only been 27 months we've been working on this.
What do we, need
27
something from
months.
us to get
Longer
this
than that.
done
No.
by the next
It
meeting?
makes sense to
November
me that
23.
you would
No, I
invite
mean-
him to a meeting to make sure that you're talking through the scope with him after he's had a chance to look with that. So my understanding is you approve the agreement, presumably before the next meeting, he's going to look at this. And then even though he's not done, he can come to the meeting and you can make sure that you get to talk to him directly about the scope. I
Well,
think.
why can't we talk to him in between the meeting? One
Well, I
person
mean,
talk to us.
individually you
I would
can.
hope,
I'm just,
I would hope that you would.
Okay.
And I'll advise him that,
I'd like to see him come to the
that
next meeting with the final, pretty much the final thing.
that's the direction that I have given him, that I need to know what their recommendations are March, because then I have other budget considerations and notice requirements for next year's budget.
just along the notice line, just so we're clear. So the next meeting is 23 days from today, not 28 or more. So from the decorum standpoint, that's gonna have to be April for moving the meeting up. But it sounds like we're going to do that anyway based on the fact that the 20th was 24 days. So just a heads up.
And we'll have, well, we didn't talk about the decorum, so what about that?
Last
Our
Thursday.
procedures of decorum, meeting decorum, that's gonna be ready for the next meeting?
It's ready right now, it's just a notice issue. And
Okay, so the notice will be done.
The notice will be done, but the notice requires 28 days time to be advertised. And so the next meeting is the 23rd
Yeah,
website.
okay.
I'm just putting it out so we're not having this discussion again.
Yeah,
I'm telling you what it is.
All right.
But it's done, it's drafted, the copy is sitting in the manager's office, and we'll get, have
So
it.
then we won't have the discussion again.
No, you can talk about it as much as you want, I'm just saying, as far as the actual approval.
Are we gonna have a chance, we won't have a chance then to discuss the study for us until the next meeting, and then we'll come forward and expect you to take a look at it at the meeting and vote on it.
Yes. So could we get that more than in an hour in advance so that we could actually look at it in advance?
My understanding of this is that you wouldn't be making changes in March with the study. You would be reviewing the study, discussing it with him so that you're actually, because presumably you're gonna need to give some feedback, right? This isn't gonna be just a few walks in the window.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, because this is a major,
He needs to make a presentation at the March meeting to give the public an opportunity to comment.
right, you want the marina to comment, you want people
Well,
to
that's why I was
comment.
hoping to talk to him before.
I'm going to advise him today that you're now the liaison and the chairman and encourage that.
Yeah, and like I said, I'd like to, because I don't want to be blindsided when he comes to the next meeting and go, yeah, that's not at all.
And frankly, Mr. Kish and I had discussions with him when this all started back before Thanksgiving. And so other board members who want to share individual areas of concern can and should do that with email or arrange a time to speak to him. Because obviously you can't talk to him least,
Right.
but if you have other specific things
Tell
like
it to
this.
Neil.
Okay, I got a question. No, I got two things. One is just the hydrologist or whatever the heck you call him that was gonna study the Everglades flow. What's going on with that? Wait, I thought we were bringing
Can you speak a little louder there?
Nobody could hear anything.
the hydrologist that we were hiring.
We're talking about,
Yeah.
the attorney, with the proposal we have from the attorney, we didn't really talk about that today.
You have, yes, the proposals, I believe, in the packet.
Oh, okay, all right.
You authorized at the last meeting, essentially moving forward with a not to exceed. I believe, however, that the number proposed is above that not to exceed. Is that correct, Neil? So what page of the packet is this?
Dave, what do you suppose it would cost for us to put in some speakers in here for these meetings?
Problem I get is feedback.
Oh, sure, I got you.
So the
Yeah,
final
'cause I
time,
have-
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, she's
We'll take another look and make recommendations.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that was, everybody's so calm.
But I hear everything.
You guys talk to each other, but nobody hears anything. Nobody hears anything.
I can hear them through the bell.
The attorney,
Hearing aids.
That might be an issue, yeah.
I don't know if they're 10 feet away from us.
Yeah, that was specifically authorized. Her evaluation is $40,950 of time and materials and the associated rate schedule.
What the hell does that mean?
That means that you have authorized the retaining of this firm, that particular engagement amount, and the additional cost of the civil engineer to provide permit information or other permits. She wants to take a look at your permits and coordinate that with Johnson Engineering.
and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, okay.
This is
We
the
talked about the water.
Everglades
Yes, this is-
Restoration Challenge.
so the last tab in your agenda packet is the
Right,
engagement package from Lewis, Longman, and Walker. The very last page of that includes a price breakdown.
So did we already accept that?
No,
No.
no, she was gonna put a proposal together for this meeting and then we had to discuss it.
Well, also what I'm being told is that Ray Jensen is spearheading something over at Orchid Cove that they're gonna
take this over evidently too.
I know this is.
Wait, no, we're gonna read it on, next door to.
Can I say something here? First of all, please don't spread rumors that aren't true. If you want to make statements, please check your facts, okay? So, don't say that. Because I don't think there's anything in the works along those lines. I'm on the board, and as far as I know, there's nothing going on with that, okay? I correct that for everybody?
That's correct.
Thank you. What?
All right, well, I got one other thing. Okay, now this is gonna be kind of off the wall. We used to have, over on, Orchid Cove at the end there used to be a big sewer drainage pipe, right? Wasn't that from the hotel area, from that Union Road, wasn't there, that used to just feed out by Orchid Cove? Remember that big, huge pipe?
The drain that goes to the canal.
Right. Is that still functioning, or?
You know who would know about that, Steve?
Because I tried to get to it the other day and I couldn't get to it.
Sorry, I can't hear what he's saying.
I'm talking about the pipe that runs along from the old hotel site right at the end of your property there.
The drainage from the parking lot? Yeah, what about it?
No, I'm just saying, is it still there? We never, because I remember something came up with that a long time ago that we were gonna fix it or get rid of it, but it's still there.
I can tell you what I know about it, okay? So it's on Collier County property, that's where it originates. We have a building on the end of our property, that building that it runs right next to. We had some settlement, we had to do some foundation repair there. Before we did the foundation repair, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't collapsing into the culvert, because that's a big culvert. We had Collier County out here to try to look at it. They never really did anything. We ended up doing the repairs anyway. So I don't know if it's functioning or not. It could be plugged. It's a very large culvert.
Yeah, sure.
It has collapsed in the past, I know, in the back of our master property there, and we repaired that at our expense, I believe. So I really don't know what this is. And we've had Collier County out. It took me 2 months to get anybody from Collier County out to even look at it. So,
No, I know this is off the wall, okay?
what's your concern with it?
No, I'm glad it's there. It's nothing bad. I was just thinking, and how we're worried about the flow. We were talking about flooding, and it's gonna flood Orchid Cove and whatnot. I don't understand why we couldn't just do it. I guess, I know it's probably not doable legally or something, but why can't we direct that flow so that it goes
To the pond?
to the canal?
Yeah.
Why do we have to get all these studies, pay all these lawyers and do all this stuff? If this is our property, why can't we just build a berm and a swale that's gonna take all this, what we think is gonna be a flood water, and just direct it to the canal where it's gonna go anyway, but we'll just make it a little more accessible so that Orchid Cove doesn't get flooded out.
So if I can respond to that, the purpose of Lewis Longman Walker's involvement is not to decide whether you can take action. It's trying to be reimbursed for having to take action.
Right.
Could you retain engineers to design a stormwater system modification in a South Florida permit mod to do what you're describing? Yes.
Without all this legal, because I mean, you tell me it's gonna be $40,000 plus standard fees, $800. I know, that's what I mean. By the time we're done spending all this money with legal and everything else, and then we're hoping we get mitigation.
Understood. Yeah, that's
so. Sure, just do it. Just get a price and do it.
Stormwater anywhere.
Yeah, correct. There is data collection required no matter which direction you go, because you cannot, as your chairman pointed out, you can't just send it anywhere. It has to be sent in a very specific
Well, no
way.
offense, I'm trying to eliminate legal.
I'm not even doing this legal work, so I'm.
No, I know you're not, but I mean, the other group is, and the rates are just crazy.
I'm worried about this, that's why I wanted to make sure we got discussion before we said we were going to go ahead with this.
Yeah, so at the last
There's
meeting.
several items here that I'd love to discuss.
Yeah, and we're doing that now. The last meeting, it was pre-authorized to 50,000, this is at 40, so it fits within the pre-authorization, but there's nothing stopping you from changing your mind or discussing further, so go ahead.
Do you want to add money to it, that's what you said?
Not really. I read through this, She worries me with the way she describes what they can and can't do. She said that, since the ribbon cutting, that you're not gonna change the project, all right? That you can maybe work towards getting reimbursed for some monies that we would spend or that kind of thing, but there really isn't any changes they're gonna make. The sad part about that is that the Corps of Engineers did not do what they said they were gonna do. They came here in townhouse meetings and they talked about protecting the port 6 ways to Sunday, right? And through the whole thing from 2000, it says in every one of those, I could have brought my book with me today, I have them all highlighted. It says about all the ways they're going to protect the port. And they did a study in 2013 and they published it in 2016 and it says we're not going to do anything for the port. We did a new H&H study and the porting islands isn't going to get any work.
Well, if I
So you're
understand
strengthening
that,
my position. That's,
Well, I personally think if this turns into a lawsuit, you could see $1 million number on it.
yeah.
but we also have the opportunity to hire a couple of engineers to see what we can mitigate to make it better for us, and then get reimbursed. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay.
But
So we have the
the
opportunity to
easiest-
fix what affects us and get reimbursed from the Corps of Engineers or
Or
whoever.
the state of Florida,
The
whoever.
problem isn't
Yes.
gonna be that's the simple part, actually, getting an engineer and getting the work done, that's the easy part.
Getting reimbursed is gonna be hard.
What they're not gonna allow you to do, I've asked them, I've taken it to South Florida Water Management and the Corps of Engineers to run what I called is a contingency swale. All right, so when you go out the well road and it makes a 90-degree corner and starts heading east, all right in that corner, just down from that corner to the east a little bit are several culverts, the big and largest ones that take a lot of the water that would affect us. All right, because the well road acts as a dam, and as it builds up and it comes this way down to that corner. And that's the biggest washout we had when it flooded, is right in that corner, it washed those culverts out. Right, that's where we had the most damage to our water pipe, where they ran trucks over there trying to get through there. That was one of the loudest leaks we had in pipe because of that. Right, it's 100 feet from those culverts to the canal. That's all it is. And I asked them if they could do a contingency swale. That would just simply, we put a swale in at the height of the culvert. Now remember, the Corps of Engineers they do not want to see any water that they put through the land going to the canal. That's what it's all about. That's why they plugged all the canals. All right, so I said, the only time that would take water from the project, right, by those culverts and put it into the canal would be at flood stage. Because if you set the swale depth at about the top of the culverts, it would still protect our road because it wouldn't top the road. It would take it at that point, the culverts are running full, they're not going to take any more water. It's just going to cause damage after that. At that point, we could take that water and direct it to the canal. And that would protect our infrastructure, the facilities buildings, Orchid Cove, all that, because that's where the water comes. It comes up against the road, comes this way, and then it's got to go somewhere. All right? A simple 2 hours with a skid steer. When you're looking at $1 million lawsuits, 2 hours with a skid steer, you could have a contingency swale set at the height of those culverts. And I told them that. I said, it won't take water unless it's at flood stage. And then you have plenty of water. What's the big deal that we protect our infrastructure at that point? They said, absolutely not. We do not want a drop of that water going in the canal. So it's not going to be that, like I said, for $500 you can put that in, all right, with a skid steer. That's not the problem. The problem is that South Florida Water Management, who is a puppet to the Corps of Engineers. Whatever the Corps of Engineers says, that's what you're going to hear from South Florida Water Management.
But it's still going to be into the canal. And just further down, it's just going to come down on the south side of 41, it's going to go into the canal. So it's not.
I'm just
Well,
telling
they
you
say
that
they're not gonna do it. Doesn't
they're
mean
dead
that we-
set against it.
Well, no, he's saying they're not going to let us do it.
Oh.
So that's what scares me with this lawsuit, and here she says that you're not gonna change anything.
Right.
Well, if we can't change anything, then why have the lawsuit?
Right.
My understanding of her statement there was that all the primary fund allocations have been made, and so not that they couldn't change things from a permitting allowance standpoint, but from a federal spend standpoint. That's how I understood what she was saying. But
Well,
That's
let's
right.
get clarification then.
we do have a problem in that we're post ribbon cutting, and we were always like that was just where we are, right? And so what she had said on the call that we had with her was that to modify the spend at this point requires congressional involvement, which is obviously a serious amount of effort. We're not just going to walk into Congress and ask for this.
And unless the state would take it on, state project with the water management.
And so the state, I think where she was going was the legislature, however, can solve some of these problems. And so my understanding of her pitch, but you can have her here to even ask her this question, is that it's to figure out what's the best way to find the money to do the project, which may include a lawsuit, but may include working with the legislature instead.
Well,
It sounds like we just.
I don't know that
we just need
it's
to
money as
confirm
much
it.
to fund the project right now,
I see what you're saying. It is a permitting issue.
as it is the permission
I
to
understood.
do the project. That's where we're gonna have the trouble.
I don't think we should be out there start down this road of spending $1 million on this.
That's my concern, Steve. It's the same thing. We've taken on the Corps in some pretty big meetings, and the Corps pretty much said, we can do whatever we want to do, and you're gonna like it.
I don't think we can win that.
I don't know that we can.
It's too big a risk.
I don't know that we can do.
The question is, how much money do you spend
And
on
have them sue us.
lawyers and lobbying to get something done?
That happens all the time.
When one of the biggest things we could do is 2 hours in a skid steer.
That's what I just said to Steve. We could do it and let them sue us.
I thought about that.
I guess at this point I'm supposed to say, no, my advice is do not do that.
Noted.
I gave the advice.
They do bi-monthly helicopter inspections for both coasts looking for unpermitted.
Where are we at? Maybe that's when we
get a little bit of way down the canal bank and then we get
So I
notice
think
of
what
violation.
I need to understand then is if you don't want to move forward with this, which is what I'm hearing, I would, because you made a motion to move forward, I think there needs to be a motion to stop. And then the question becomes, do you want to talk to them further, or you just want to drop it?
I think there's also another issue here that if you've had an emergency and you can see this flood water coming, with the swell in then nobody's going to stop you. And you think they're going to turn around and sue you because you prevented
To that,
flood?
That's the thing I don't get about having that swale in there, is that it'll only move water
Yeah, I
when
get
you're
that
at
part.
flood stage, right? It'll get rid of some of the water back into the canal. It's cheap, it makes a ton of sense, and they didn't want to hear it.
I like that contingency plan.
It may
Yes.
have to do with treatment of
coming.
water.
Yeah, if it's coming,
Come
do
just
it.
do it.
That may-
Fill it back in when it's goes away.
You know?
Yeah.
I said, if we know something's coming,
We'll put it back the way it was.
We always said, there's one thing that we haven't done, and I was always an advocate not to get a hold of Wink News and make this a big deal and go to the commissioners and things like that, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to actually sit down and put this out there.
yeah, have somebody explain to them or understand it. In an emergency.
You think the county's,
water.
you think the county's gonna fight for us?
County's not gonna do anything.
No, that's what I mean, so you're gonna bring it up, who's gonna do
But
the
the only
fight?
thing, the great thing about going on the agenda at the county commissioners is all the news is there, they're all live.
Yeah, but it'll bring attention and 15 minutes later it's gone. I
Like I said, I think our biggest thing is, if we have an issue, just put it
Fix
in.
yeah, I think that's, and
That's-
then make it, put it back.
How about getting one of the TV
Yeah, that's
stations
what I'm
to
saying.
come down here? It's wonderful, but it's publicity and it doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah, that last 15 minutes, I'm telling you, it's everybody's internet bound. They will read something, done. I don't agree with that.
If the idea is to try to make the contingency thing work, my recommendation would be to try to see if Johnson can get a permit mod, because what you're talking about is the Corps told you verbally no without seeing any, like, it's not like we submitted a permit modification to do this and they said no. They just
No, we didn't submit anything. It was in
Right.
one of our meetings with South Florida.
No, I know, and so what I'm saying is you haven't actually been told no at a permitting level, and so I think that I cannot advise the district to plan to have a permanent contingency plan. You have a retained engineer who could submit this permit mod, and you could find out because you haven't been told no at permit level. You've just been told no in conversation and negotiation level that they didn't.
It also gives us teeth if we apply for it and they deny it, and then we have a flood.
I think that's a much better approach because then
Now you know it.
because in that there may be reasons that they're not articulating well in conversation as to what the problem is. For example, it may have to do with treating the water before it hits the canal. But these things can be if that's what the problem is, that can be addressed in the permit mod.
Yeah, if you've done it and things go sideways, at least you've done what you're supposed to.
And then potentially,
And the ball's in their court.
if it does work and they give you the permit and you spend the money and you put in this
So you want
facility,
to put this on hold for right now and see if we could take a different avenue?
that's your decision.
I think that's
When switch gears to
appropriate.
permitting and have them.
Yeah, why don't we
offer
put in
permit.
for permit modification and let them tell us no on that? And if they tell us no on that, and we get flooded, at least we can turn around and say, hey, we're all suing you now.
I just don't see that putting a ton of money into this paperwork.
Yeah,
and
let's
end up maybe later.
pare that
with the
down.
same problems we have before we spent this amount of money.
Yeah,
To make sure that
let's pare it down to just doing a permit.
Neil and I have the
You
direction.
need to make a motion on that.
You'd like to, one of them should be a motion to not move forward with this proposal.
I make that motion.
I
Okay?
second it.
All in favor? Aye.
So
And then
I also make a motion to do a permit modification.
So to have your engineer prepare and bring to you a proposal for a permit
With the
modification.
hydrologist where appropriate. And I think in order for you to make an informed decision, my understanding based on conversations with Dan is at one time there was a berm that ran across the northern part of the community that was permitted. And then those funds were redirected and applied in the urban area for the 6L farm enhancements and other. Some engineering analysis of what was originally permitted because it makes sense to him from a common sense standpoint needs to take place so that we know if we're going to try to do a mod, what we can do. Having said that, I would tell you after Hurricane Irma and Ian, the governor did sign executive orders that waived the permitting requirements. And I've recently, for what restoration work, stormwater, and in a case for a client at Pelican Bay, we actually went into mangroves and removed 8 feet of sand and hauled it back to the beach to reconstruct the dune without any permits at all. And if you think about that, I'm working in a federally protected wetland.
That's pretty standard procedure.
And so, I mean, back to, somebody made the point, we could cure this with a skid steer if and when the current governor has a track record of waiving environmental resource permits following a presidentially declared disaster.
So Johnson Engineering applied, because I talked to Jared about this.
If the governor's executive order is still valid or open, I mean, we might be able to explore whether or not that would apply. I'd have to ask him. I don't know whether if it's still open or if it's expired.
Let's do it. Let's check out, see what we have to do.
So you have that motion then? Both of them, right?
Yeah, the first motion was made and voted, the second motion was
Just made and voted.
Did you have
Was it? No.
Yeah.
No, we didn't vote on it. I second it. I have to be voted
All
on
in
it.
favor?
Aye.
I have a question. How you doing on your FEMA stuff? We didn't talk about that.
The tank moved forward to the final stage of getting approved. How long it'll sit there on that desk, I don't know, it's FEMA. But the lady that works for FDM, Florida Department of Emergency Management, said that things are picking up a little bit. So FEMA's starting to roll a little more. So she was excited about that. So it's just part of one of the grant things that's, we're working for a 250,000 gallon storage tank, which will help with the problems of how much water we have on hand, whether we need to pump out of the canal, which we can't do anymore. Having that new storage tank will help with that a lot. And that'll be under grant monies. That's under a 75% grant. So they pay all the engineering fees, 75% cost. We are moving forward with raising the wellheads, and that's still under the hurricane grant, which is 100% of the cost. And that's moving, it's moving forward. That's all I can tell you. Let's hurry up and wait on the bridge. But anyway, that we got a chance at that one going through. So that'll raise all of those, and it'll submerge our well. We have one well with the motor pumping ground right now. It got wet in the last flood. That'll make that waterproof, and all the wellheads will go up to 5 to 6 feet above the surface out there. And then have to put, because they're that high, they have to put walkways and stuff around them. So a lot of money spent, but it's all grant money for that. And then they'll rewire all the wells and do like raise electrical boxes, so if it does flood again, all it's doing is making it that if it floods again out by the well field, it shouldn't cost us any money, we'll be ready for it. We raised our generator way up already. We'll be raising the wellheads and the motors for the wells and all the electric.
We just got an invoice for about $87,000 on that deal so far.
When Matt was here, forgot to ask him about the pipes on the bridge. Do you know when they're gonna start that?
They're working on that. I told them that Mitch to go ahead, because we're just paying for that.
Yeah, before it starts raining everything.
The pipes that go across the bridge are all rusty and getting old, and we're looking at replacing those pipes that go across the bridge to bring water, sewer, and irrigation water back and forth across the canal. So they're going to replace those pipes on the bridge. We have an estimate. What was Mitch's cost on that?
Million?
No.
No.
Was it
It's a fraction of that.
152 or something like that.
Florida Utility Systems that has the,
Yeah, you put the HDP in.
and my understanding is it's in for permitting. We need a permit from FDOT to be able to attach those structures to the bridge.
We also haven't discussed what's going on with Lindsay Case's situation over there. I was just looking last night again where part of the original agreement was that he was going to be paid to move water and sewer lines from the east side of the dormitory property over into Union Road, and that was going to be on his dime. So
If he chose to move them. And presumably he would have chose to move them given his plan of development that he submitted to the county. But if he doesn't build, then he didn't need to move it because there was no movement of the facilities.
Oh, we're gonna need to get that other thing, all the utility values and everything from Russ Weir's group before we.
Yeah.
Well, if we use that, yeah, because as we talked about before, the 20 million, right, non-depreciated price, if we use that, it's gonna raise the cost of the ERC.
So it's still going to have to be backed up by a consultant.
Right.
Yeah, so we need that. And I just have one more thing, then we can close up, we're almost done. All right, I've been on the board, I don't know, 6, 7 years, it feels like forever. And when I first got on the board, I couldn't understand the ERCs, this, that, it all seemed wrong to me. And I just want to tell you, I pushed on it. Of course, I didn't push like some people did, but if this pit bull wouldn't have done what he did, it's finally making it fair. You guys may not understand it, and that's unfortunate, but we're trying to make this taxation and assessment and water and everything fair for everybody. It was never fair for the hotel. It was never fair for vacant properties. It was never fair for some of the homeowners and stuff. And we're trying to get that settled out, and like I said, if, this guy wouldn't have been reading everything and doing, researching like crazy, because I never did it. I just wasn't gonna get into it, but he dug into it, and without that, I know people say things on next door, I guess, and it gets under his skin, I tell him not to read it, but he does, and.
Well, the same is true for utility rates. That's why we
Everything,
published the survey.
Yeah, we're trying to get everything right, and he's the main reason it's happening.
You have
I just want to tell you that, so that's all I have to say.
You have average utility rates.
Yeah.
Of all the utilities in Southwest Florida, the survey says that I think we're fifth or sixth overall, and you have the smallest customer base. And so you're spreading your costs across, the 700 accounts that you have. Collier County has 10 times that number of accounts to spread their cost. And so to have average utility rates, even with the new rates, I think speaks for itself.
I have a pharmacist that I work with, it's Lely, just bought a house in Lely, and her water bill is so bad, she's spending $6,000 to put in a well to do irrigation, because they irrigate with potable water. So most of those people can't even afford to water their lawns. It's cheaper for them to spend $6,000 and put in a well than it is, and she's gonna get her money back in 2 years. That's how she's got it figured out. I don't know if that's right or not, but I'm just telling you, we're making it fair, and that's all I've got. End of meeting.
Okay.
You ready?
Make a motion.
19th at 9:30. It was
That's a Thursday.
All in favor?
yes.
No, okay, one more thing. You said the number of days wasn't enough or something? 24 days?
It's fine for the meeting, it's just not for the rule.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
So we're adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you. You should keep yours. I might need